We have some more news to talk about. NASCAR news is starting to get back into rapid mode. It's not anything, well, it's kind of big deal, I guess, but it's nothing like season shaking, changing, championship defining, anything like that, but it's still worth talking about. It's still worth me telling you what the heck is going on, what the heck this is, what it means, and all that, giving my thoughts on it. So we're going to talk about it. We are less than a month away from the Daytona 500. In fact, we're only like 2 or 3 weeks away from the Clash. The Clash is on February 9th. Anyways, we got 2 things to talk about that we'll talk about significantly, and then we'll mention a couple other things. The first thing I want to mention, Austin Cindric. It has been confirmed that he will attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500. He is not locked to spot in. He will be one of the open cars, so he will have to qualify his way in. He will have to race in the duels to make it in. He will be driving the number 33 Penske car. Sponsorship, I don't know, but that's all I know about it. So, yeah, there you go. That's how you figure it out. Right here, I guess, if you haven't heard about it earlier. But Austin Cindric will be driving the number 33 Penske car. It was already said that he would be driving a limited amount of races in the 2021 season. No one knew where, though, but the Daytona 500 has been confirmed. As for our next news, Kyle Larson, this isn't like, it hasn't technically been confirmed, but these pictures kind of confirm it. And Hendrick hasn't said anything, but Kyle Larson will be sponsored by Rick Hendrick's company, Hendrick Cars. Rick Hendrick, team owner for Hendrick Motorsports. Obviously, he has his own companies outside. He has a couple car dealerships, and then obviously HendrickCars.com. And he's sponsored some races in the past few years when they can't get sponsorship. He sponsored William Byron last year in a couple of races after the Hertz deal fell through. He sponsored Casey Kane a few times, I believe. But yeah, other than that, he hasn't been a massive, major sponsor of his own team because really he hasn't had to. But this year is different because of who he signed in the offseason, or technically it was during the season, but to take over the 4th Hendrick car, the 5 car, Kyle Larson. Now, Kyle Larson, of course, if you didn't know, was fired from Chip Ganassi Racing after using a racial slur on a live stream. He was fired. He lost a bunch of sponsors, and he went back to dirt racing for a bit. He tore it up on dirt, and then he had to get reinstated by NASCAR. He went and did things out in the community. He did a lot of stuff over the past, I guess it's been 7-8 months, and he's really tried to change himself. All that we've talked about in the past, and now. And then in October or November, he signed with Hendrick Motorsports to drive their 4th car, the number 5 car. But Rick Hendrick, when he talked to Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson said, "I want to drive your car," and Rick Hendrick said, "I know, I want to sign you." Rick Hendrick knew what was coming. Sponsors weren't going to jump on board of a guy who just said a racial slur less than a year ago and got fired. People are going to remember that. ESPN was talking about it. It's kind of a big deal that it happened. And, that comes with a lot of media. That comes with a lot of, a lot of criticism from people, media, people, anyone out there. So Rick Hendrick knew what was coming. He knew that sponsors wouldn't come up to him and be like, "Yes, Kyle Larson, I'd love to sign on your car. I'd love to sponsor the guy who said a racial slur." Obviously Kyle Larson has changed. He's learned from his mistake. If you've been paying close attention to him, you know that. But not everyone in the general public knows. Not every major company knows that. Even smaller companies that may sponsor him don't know that. But, it's a definite, I don't want to call it a risk, but for your company to sponsor Kyle Larson for what he did a few months ago, it's a risk. I don't care what your opinion is on it. It's a risk because of what he said. It was bad, and it's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna get any major sponsors this year. He may have to wait a couple years, rebuild his reputation. His reputation, it's been rebuilt a little. It was at its low when he said the racial slur, but he is slowly building his reputation back. And if he can do that, and he can prove that he's a better person and that he is completely different from what he said back in April, then sponsors will start to jump on board. But less than a year later, sponsors aren't really going to be willing to just jump on Kyle Larson and say, "Yeah, we'd love to be on your car," because it's a mess for PR, public, like it's just a mess for all that stuff. And so, it's going to be more difficult for Larson. I think Rick Hendrick knew that. But Kyle Larson's he's an extremely talented driver, and Rick Hendrick said, "All right, we got to get this guy locked up. I can sponsor him for a bit until we can get some sponsors. He can rebuild his reputation, all that." So yeah, there's that. We really don't need to go much more into it. It's pretty simple like that. I mean, there's that picture I said, him in the Hendrick Cars fire suit. As we expected, he's going to be sponsored by Hendrick Cars. Some other logos on there. You got your normal Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports. Valvoline's on there. He might have a couple races from Valvoline. Valvoline's been sponsoring Hendrick for the last couple of years. It's been on the 88 car. On his shirt, it looks like you got some more typical NASCAR Chevy Sunoco. And then I think that's the Acronis that they signed last year. So that could be sponsoring him for a couple races. I don't know, but it does look like Hendrick Cars will be the primary sponsor for the majority of the year for Kyle Larson. So yeah, that's the news on that. Obviously, Hendrick Motorsports has not said anything official, but this looks like a pretty real picture. Doesn't look very photoshopped or anything. Looks pretty recent. I mean, what else? And it also looks like that kind of looks like the car that Byron ran last year, the same color. So they might be running the same paint scheme. I don't know. Some merchandise has been released. It's red. It's kind of that blue. So I really don't know what the paint scheme is going to look like. We haven't gotten a paint scheme yet. Next news, we are going to talk about A.J. Allmendinger, winner of the 2014 Watkins Glen Cup race, will be returning to the Cup Series at Daytona. Not the Daytona 500, though. Not the Daytona 500. He will be racing for Kaulig Racing at the Daytona Road Course. Remember, the Daytona Road Course is now taking over the Auto Club date, not for long term, but for this year because California and their COVID restrictions, and then Auto Club Speedway not being able to, get approval from the state of California or their local government. They were not able to host a race in, I guess it would have been early March or late February. They weren't able to get that approval. And so NASCAR said, okay, we'll replace that race with the Daytona Road Course. They did the same thing last year, except they did it with Watkins Glen. New York would not allow NASCAR to race at Watkins Glen, so NASCAR replaced it with the Daytona Road Course. And now that the Daytona Road Course is going to be, or that it's been raced on, and NASCAR thought it did well, they said, okay, we'll do it again. We'll use that as our backup race. And now we're going to have, 3-4 weeks at Florida. We got the Clash on February 9th, and then we got the 500 on the 14th, Daytona Road Course on the 21st, Homestead, Miami on the 28th. So we got a lot of Florida that week. But anyways, that's how we got the Daytona Road Course on the schedule, and now we know another driver who will be racing at A.J. Allmendinger. A.J. Allmendinger, as I said at the beginning of this whole, this talk, he won in 2014 at Watkins Glen with JTG Doherty Racing. That is his one and only career win in the NASCAR Cup Series. He has also won a few Xfinity races in his career for Kaulig Racing, winning most recently at, you guessed it, a road course at the Charlotte Roval. So A.J. Allmendinger, if you're new to NASCAR, well, I got some news for you. He's a very good road course racer. He's a very good driver on all road courses. He's won poles at Sonoma. He's led laps at Sonoma. He's won at Watkins Glen. He's led laps at Watkins Glen. The dude knows how to get around road courses, and even in the Xfinity Series, he's won at the Roval, as I said. He's done well at, the Daytona? I don't remember how he did at the Daytona road course, but he probably did good if I had to guess, but he's a very talented road course racer, and there's no question about it. So I really don't know how good Kaulig Racing is going to be. I don't know if they're going to be really bad, Spire hasn't been great outside of that Justin Haley win. They haven't been that great. I don't know if they're going to be like that. I don't know if they're going to be like their Xfinity team and be running in the top 10 all race. I don't know how good they're going to be. But if they give him a top 15 car, I think A.J. Allmendinger can get himself a top 10 and a top 5. And if strategy comes down to it, heck, I think he could win the race because he's that good in the road course car. He's racing in the 24 hours at Daytona, I believe. So I'm telling you, this guy's a great road course racer. He knows how to get around road courses. Very, very talented driver overall. He's really I think in the Xfinity Series has helped him out a lot with just the past couple of years running part-time, winning on different types of tracks. I think that's helped him out a ton. and now he's going to be going back to the Cup Series after I don't think he's racing the Cup Series since 2018, I believe. He was let go from JTG Doherty Racing, or they parted ways or something like that. But he's going to be returning to the Cup Series, and I think, I really do think if they give him a decent or good car, I think he could compete for a top 10, maybe even a top 5. And as I said, if something wacky happened, I think he could compete for a win because he's a really talented road course racer. There's no question about it. He's got to win. He's got to win in the Cup Series at a road course. So he's done it before. I bet he could do it again if he was given the opportunity. But that's all the major news I got for you so far. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you feel informed about the NASCAR, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. Share it with other NASCAR people, and we are counting down the days till the Daytona 500.